Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Talk Tobago. I'm Amadara Mills. In this week's episode, we're doing things a little different. We're coming to you from the Center of Excellence, Macoya, Trinidad, at the Trade and Investment Convention, TIC 2022. So join us as we bring you all the highlights of Tobago's participation at this 3-day business expo. Besides the actual convention, Tobago had a significant role to play in the opening ceremony. The Chief Secretary, Honorable Fali Augustine, was also present. Take a look.
Stop your phone, Mr. Fiddler. Oh, hi. All good things must come to an end. But this is not where the story close, but where it been. Are we resolute that Tobago ready for invest and connect? All the sectors that been dormant, are we resurrect? The non-traditional fractions of the economy have proven to be of good importance. That is why we have pushed them to be in a place of sustainable resonance. That is what AWE is all about. Sustainability, direct investment, and trade. Because we products and services don't exceed the passing grade. But let me not keep all here no longer. Just find a Tobago booth and discuss how you could partner. So on your mark, ready, get set, go! Immerse yourself and invest in a Tobago. Track your bow, Mr. Fiddler.
TIC is a catalyst that generates business opportunities, especially for firms in the non-energy business community of TNT. This year, the convention will be celebrating its 23rd year as the region's largest business-to-business event. Significantly, it will be the first physical TIC being held in 2 years, and the fitting theme is Business Resilience. The event represents an assembly and celebration of participants who have demonstrated flexibility, dynamism, and resilience in business.
TIC, the Trade and Investment Convention that we have every single year, barring COVID, provides opportunities through which businesses, local, regionally, and foreign businesses, can actually collaborate with each other, share knowledge, and partner with each other. That's the biggest opportunity coming out of TIC that you should not miss this time around. For us in Tobago, we wanted to show up this year, just like every other year, but we wanted to show up in an even bigger presence this year. And so I am proud to say that Tobago, as a singular unit, will be managing the single largest block within the convention space. And that's because we were purposeful in saying this is an investment that we wish to make for our small and micro enterprises on the island of Tobago. We have also recognized that we have to look beyond the usual things we seek to trade and begin to look at, for example, the creative sector. And I'm sure you observed the dancers, the speech band members They are part of what Tobago wishes to offer to the world and that Tobago wishes to monetize. And we hear all this fancy talk about the orange economy, but we have to invest more in the creatives in order to earn from them.
The Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturers Association must be commended for developing this invaluable platform which brings together manufacturers, service providers, buyers, distributors, financial institutions, investors and regulatory agencies. Your success has positioned the Trade and Investment Convention as the Caribbean's premier business-to-business trade show. This year's theme, Business Resilience, is quite appropriate. Resilience is key to not only recovering but doing so quickly, but also to maintaining the flexibility and perseverance to thrive and developing the capacity to expand and adapt to disruptions and threats that will come in some shape or another in the future.
Lend me a part to play, Joe, bring it. Lend me a part to play, la boy. Joe, bring it, lend me a part. Hey, Joe, bring it, lend me a part to play. I said, lend me a part to play, sing la boy. Yes, mom. Joe, bring it, lend me a part to play. Joe, bring it, lend me a part to play, la boy.
Can you give us an idea in terms of probably the number of exhibitors, the number of visitors that an event like TIC could possibly have or has had over the years?
The last time it was physically done, they had on average over 17,000 visitors to the exhibition. So it's pretty big. This year, for example, there are about over 30 countries represented at this TIC, of which Tobago is a part.
And that means, Tobago being a part is a lot of potential for our businesses and, various business deals and so.
Yes.
So can you elaborate a little bit more on the objectives, the benefits for the Tobago contingent that's down at TIC?
Right. So specific to this year, our Chief Secretary has the vision of putting Tobago out there. So we are under a theme of connecting, investing and activating investment in the Tobago economy specifically. With that in mind, we have some of the larger entities displaying at TIC this year, including Studley Park. You have the Tobago Performing Arts Company, which brings a different dimension to the whole TIC experience. You also have TADCO, which is the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company that incorporates a whole lot of different Tobago products and brings some of the smaller producers, the products of the smaller producers, under the TADCO brand. So where we are focusing on providing alternatives where food security is concerned, it positions TADCO to be able to take advantage of that. You also have, well, I mentioned Studley Park already, you have the Shore Park Complex, you have the Tobago Information Technology Limited, where they have already started engaging the Trinidad markets with some of their products. You have the medical life alert device that they can use. They also have different technology products that can not only compete, but really establish Tobago as a possibility for the BPO market. And we also interact with InvestTT, and they will tell you that the BPO market, business process outsourcing, the call centers, and we know 211 is famous. That is one of the hottest areas in investments in the whole regional investment push right now. So we have a mix of that, and we also have the SMEs who have come to TIC over the years and have gained, where you now have entities receiving contracts regionally like Tobago Media Concepts. They have engaged regionally over the years as a result of being at TIC. You have persons like Keston Pope from Savor the Isle Punches, who now has his products in extra food supermarkets and some of the larger chains. You have JMac Industries, who does the support brand label. They have also been part of the Trinidad markets in a big way, and now we are looking for regional distribution contracts for them. So there's a lot of activity that will happen as a result of TIC. We've been here, this is the second day of TIC, and already we have results that we're going to look to cement that you will hear in the Tobago space about some of the successes that these young people are having. We also have the Tom Tom's local confectionery, and I know everybody knows that Tobago is famous where sweets are concerned. Now we have the sweets packaged in such a way through a collaboration with the Ministry of Trade and the Export Booster Initiative that Tom Tom's has been able to benefit, change their packaging, change their formulation, come up with the recipes and stuff, that now these sweets, these Tobago sweets, can go out to the international markets and still be fresh, relevant, and able for months on end. So the possibilities are endless, the potential is there, and we look forward to taking advantage of it.
Well, thank you very much, Tricia, for giving us that wonderful overview of TIC, as well as, the benefits that it has for Tobago. So we're now going to take a look and, interview some of the businesses that are present in the Invest Tobago booth. So come along with us. How do you feel, Cassie, about being able to showcase, your pieces here at TIC?
Well, I must say it's a very good opportunity, and when you get an opportunity, you grasp at it. It's all about being exposed, the exposure.
And could you tell us, in general, would you have gone and visited any of the booths here at Invest Tobago?
I started visiting, yes, and there's more to explore, I must say.
Now, from what you would have seen here, what do you think about the presentations and the Tobago businesses and services that are participating at TIC?
Actually, I am impressed. I already bought some stuff that I started eating already, and I have some in my bag to continue eating. So it's good. Good.
Well, I hope you will try the fudge from Tom Tom's local confectionery. I hear that is a very, a #1 seller for that business.
Well, actually, I bought the Tambran, and it's on point.
Yeah, all right, so that's great to hear. Our local, entrepreneurs, whether it's clothing design, whether it's culture, whether it's our goods and services, we are here and, telling Trinidad that come invest in Tobago. Idea, you've been here before. Tell us how many times you've been to TIC and what has the experience like, for you in the past.
To be quite honest, I cannot remember if it's 3 or 4 times I've been here already, but I've been here quite a bit. And it's always an amazing opportunity for the exposure, to get brand recognition. And coming out of this, I normally get like a lot of person who would be interested in wholesaling the products and stuff like that. So it really is a good experience.
We have laundry detergent, we have multi-purpose cleaner, we have 2 fragrances in the multi-purpose cleaner, we have lavender, we also have a car wash, we have hand soap, and we have dishwashing liquid, all made in Orange Hill Trace in Tobago.
Okay, so coming directly from Tobago, that's really great. Tell us, is this your first time here at TIC, and what has your experience been like so far?
Oh yes, this is definitely my first time, because my boss, which is Mr. Edward Jones, he was actually here in 2019, and it's been phenomenal. I'm really, really excited, and I'm so glad that we're able to actually market our product here. So we're grateful that we're here again at TIC.
And do you have any expectations? I know this is just, the second day. Any expectations, from yesterday, your experience yesterday going into tomorrow, that kind of thing?
Oh yes, I'm actually looking forward to more customers, and the idea that we're actually getting business owners coming and asking about wholesaling and stuff. So my aim and my expectations is actually to get our product into Trinidad, into all the different markets, supermarkets, drugstores and so forth.
Well, for me personally, I have turned into a seasoned trade and investment convention participant, and as an exhibitor over the past 4 years, because this is our fourth time. Over the past 4 years, we have been so successful. Each time we get here, there are specific clients that continuously come looking for us to give them or provide them a certain type of service that they couldn't get from some of the other service providers in Trinidad and more so in Tobago. This year for sure, what we did, because of the strategies that we use to get the type of clients that we're looking for in this convention, as early as yesterday morning, within the first hour and a half, we were successful. And this is the type of not just It's not just a money-making event, but it's a developmental event for me as an individual and for the company Tobago Media Concepts.
It has been awesome. As the first time out, it has been awesome. To tell you the truth, I can pack up and go. Because the reason why I say that is that the type of networking that I was able to establish at this event have been really awesome. The support given by the chief secretary as well as the large company owners that are present here have made it a really success.
TIC has opened up a lot of opportunities and market, not just in Trinidad but outside Trinidad. So for example, this year, due to the COVID, one of our main purpose being here is to actually reconnect with our existing suppliers, existing customers, and also look at other potential market outside of Trinidad. So far since we here up to the boat was a business owner from Barbados who had interest in our product. So, they came right knowing what they're going for, looking for, and there is something for me to continue after the event.
This is our first time at TIC. It's excellent. We are able to meet people like Miss Minister Gopi Schoon. That was an excellent opportunity for me. We wish to expand the customer base to other businesses in Trinidad, and for now that's going excellent.
Can I ask, in terms of the visitor response to this booth here, tell us how has that been like?
Magnificent, unbelievable, mind-blowing. Some of the customers from yesterday already came back today.
Mr. Prince, any final words on the expectations, your experience here at TIC so far?
Well, the breakthrough that we are looking for is most of the groceries, like Massey and the other big stores in Trinidad, that they will be here and they will be able to share the experience with us and even taste our product and realize that we are the best. As I said before, strictly the best. Our packaging just gives us a notch above the rest.
So we have here with us Mr. Kevon McKenna. He's the Deputy Chairman of the Tobago October Carnival Committee, but you also were able to view the booths that many Tobago businesses as well as some state agencies have here today. What are your thoughts on our presentation so far?
I'm quite impressed. I had the opportunity to sneak a piece of cassava cake from Tadco. You have to try it, guys. The cake lashing. I also sampled the coffee rum cream from Savor Isle. That was really impressive. So those two items, I think I'm sold on those.
Absolutely promising. It's wonderful. My favorite booth, of course, is this one with the flowers because they make the mix. The cake is divine and the korma is great. And then we had the natural beet and cassava korma there. I met with the guys selling the wines. I mean, it's incredible. I didn't realize all this is in Tobago. And I checked out the handbags from Osani. The quality is so amazing. That belongs on Fifth Avenue. It's so great. The colors, the material, lovely, lovely. I'm very impressed. And we go to Tobago for the island pool and for Sorbet and Pigeon Point, but this is why people should be in Tobago too. All these wonderful products. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Tell us, you just walked through the booth with your daughter. Tell us, what are your thoughts on, the Tobago presentation?
I was so proud of my Tobago booth, the booths here. And the funny thing, yes, I'm in Tobago, but coming here, it gives me a totally different perspective in terms of what it is we have to offer on the island. And we have a lot to offer, and it's so varied. The artisans here, as well as the technology, as well as the culture. I think this will be a very busy booth.
For me, it was very surprising. I think that it's a good insight for Tobago to actually have a presence here at the TIC. I think it's very well put together. I really enjoyed it. I think it's very colorful, and I can see the engagement and I can see the excitement here. And I think that it will do well.
That Tobago has been very innovative and very proactive in using a lot of locally produced, grown and manufacturers as well. And it's a big showcase for Tobago because it's just more than the traditional Benny balls and the tulum and the whatever. You have the dashing cereal and the pumpkin or waffle mixes and the beetroot korma and what have you. And I mean, it actually shows the sort of innovative people we have within our islands.
Besides the Tobago-based businesses which have been supported by the THA, there were several state agencies. They include the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, the Studley Park Enterprise Limited, the Tobago Information Technology Limited, the Tobago Festivals Commission, the Tobago Performing Arts Company, and the Shore Park Complex.
The Tobago Information Technology Limited, it's a special purpose organization under the Department of Education. Our main focus is service, right? So what we normally do there, we do business process outsourcing, where we provide service, whatever service it is that any organization would like to have. We are in a position to provide that to them. We are here to advertise or put our business out there so persons may now be aware of the services provided by our organization and how best we can assist them in improving, because our mandate is improving ICT technology in Tobago, but not just limiting it to Tobago but to the region.
And can you give us an idea of the products and services offered by TADCO?
So TADCO recently launched its line of organic gluten-free products. We have about 8 products that we have on display, which includes waffle mixes, pancake mix, fruit cake, kurma, and many other value-added items derived from alternative flour from our root crops such as dasheen, sweet potato, and stuff like that, cassava and so on.
What has the customer response been like to the products, that's offered by TADCO? Because I knew a lot of customers, a lot of buyers and so were passing through at the TADCO booth.
Well, today, not only customers were interested, but also investors and distributors. So we had a really overwhelming reception. Persons are very interested in all our products, and particularly they like that it's basically eco-friendly and healthy.
What I was very impressed with is the display that you all have here, which is really, really impressive in terms of all the displays here at the Tobago booth in West Tobago. So can you tell us a little bit about how you all would have decided to do this display?
Well, what we wanted to have done is that we wanted to have a little piece of the quarry here at TIC, right? So essentially, we created one of our major plants that we process the material through the process of crushing, right? So what you see here are the various sizes of the material, the end product, or the end product of each of the materials that is sold to the customer in Tobago.
Can you give us, in terms of the response from those who are the visitors to the booths, what has the foot traffic been like for the Studley Park Enterprise Limited?
It's been busy. It's been very, very, very busy, right? We have a lot of offers. We are networking with many of our existing suppliers, and we are inviting new customers into the game of Studley Park, right? We want to make Studley Park the most productive entity in Tobago for revenue, for foreign exchange revenue, especially because, as you should know, we have our Barbados Bay jetty facility that we utilize for export, right? And we are drumming up a lot of clientele here at TIC. It's working for us. We are happy to be here.
And can you tell us, in terms of the Tobago Tourism Agency coming to TIC, why is this important?
It's been very important for us to reach out to the Trinidad people, and it's been amazing. We've had very busy stand. They're very interested in Tobago. They're very interested in the carnival. Look at the display here. I think we've been the busiest part of the show. Every time I've gone to look around, our stand has been busiest.
Now, the Tobago Festivals Commission is one of the state companies that's down at TIC. Tell us, what the significance of this for the Festivals Commission.
So cultural expression is very important to Tobago. It's one of the things that Tobago is known for, and Tobago is currently, we wanted Tobago to be known as the greatest little island in the world, actually. And basically what we want to do is market the destination as a cultural destination. We have so many cultural events and activities that people could come and take part in and come and look at and actually learn about the culture and learn about the indigenous events in Tobago. And it's important for, sponsors and partners to get involved with that, because they would also be the ones to elevate the culture and to also allow persons around the world, around the globe, to learn about the Tobago Festivals Commission and also learn about the island of Tobago.
What are the services provided by the Shore Park Complex?
But the Shore Park Complex is the mecca of all performing arts and events for the island of Tobago, and actually the largest venue in the Caribbean. And we host a series of conferences, meetings, training, and of course concerts and events. Shore Park being here is very significant for us because it gives us an opportunity to diversify our clientele, widen our base, and start to now put Shore Park on the map internationally, locally, as in Trinidad, and even more regionally. We want to be able to now bring more foreign exchange to Tobago by booking the facility and getting more foreign clientele coming to the island that will boost the tourism product as well.
Right. And today, we had a lot of foot traffic in the Tobago space here. Tell us, what has it been like for the visitors to the Shore Park Complex booth?
Well, we have actually gotten bookings. We walked away today only with 10 bookings thus far. So I think we have already started making some heavy headway in terms of putting the space out there and getting people interested in this space, and I think we did well today.
Right. And Mrs. Charles Panton, what are your thoughts on the Tobago-based businesses that you've interacted with? Because I saw you were talking with Osani Designs. What's your experience been like?
Okay, well, people who know me know I love scents. Right? People who know me, they know I love to buy natural soaps, wax candles. So I easily gravitated to Osani at first. Right? And I'm impressed by the quality products that Osani has. But I must mention the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, which is a company that falls under my division. I am so pleased with the presentation of the products coming out from the local agro-processors. And I want to Begonians to come out in Tobago. We have them in the groceries, right? Come out, sample the products, not sample, buy the products, support your products. I am doing it, and I enjoy every single product coming out of TADCO. And so far, we are representing Tobago in a big way, right? We're going across the region. We're about to embark on so many initiatives, including exporting flowers in the ton, different flowers in the ton. So come out and just be an ambassador for Tobago.
Tobago has, by comparison, when you look around this space, Tobago has much better products, much better packaging, higher quality than many others. What we ought to do now is to spend some time finding source markets, helping the producers move their products from where they are now all the way to end users beyond the Tobago space, which means that the THA has to spend some of its resources on fine-tuning the supply chain for these SMEs and just getting them in markets outside of the Tobago space. It's about ensuring that Tobago's development can be driven internally by the income we earn of ourselves outside of what we get through the channel with the central government. That we are entitled to, the 4.03% to the 6.9%. But outside of that, if Tobago's development has to be driven in a real way, in a substantial way, what has to absolutely happen is that we have to push our state companies, 211 included, to become much more profitable. That will reduce the amount of subventions the THA have to give to them, but in reverse, they can earn monies that can now go back into capital development for Tobago.
That's it for this special edition of Let's Talk Tobago. Thanks for staying with us as we brought you the Tobago aspect of this year's TIC happenings. As usual, you can email us with your comments or queries about the program. Visit our website, like our Office of the Chief Secretary Facebook page, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. From our house to yours, I'm Amadara Mills, wishing you a very safe and productive week.
when you're moving from place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. It is 7 a.m. and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. Yes, folks, it is Tuesday. This morning it is Tuesday, the 6th of September, 2022. As we continue, this year seems to be running along very fast indeed. As we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julian Skeet here with you this morning. And yes, I'm going solo for this week. But we want to welcome each and every one of you joining us here on the Tobago Updates morning show. This morning we start with a bit of a sad news, and we want to send out, there's the passing of Sergeant Dion Mapp, and therefore we want to send out condolences to the family on the passing, and the entire Trinidad and Tobago Police Service and all his colleagues here within the Tobago space. We want to send out condolences to the family of Sergeant Dion Mapp this morning, folks. All right, also we have switching gears happening here within the Tobago space. It's Tuesday, folks. It's the second day of the week, and more importantly, it's the second day following what would have been the start of the school term yesterday on Monday the 5th. And therefore, we look forward to the updates and information. There's much happening in this space. Teachers would have taken their action accordingly. We still saw what was a turnout of some of our teachers within the system. For the most part, many schools would have had to end their operations early, and parents be called back at short notice due to the fact, most obviously, that there weren't sufficient teachers within the schools in order to facilitate a first day that would be totally successful. And therefore, we really look forward to today being what we anticipated yesterday would be as the first day. So we're looking forward to the full turnout of both our student population and our teachers as well, as they proceed with the start of this new school year, the start of this new school term, because we know ultimately, I always make the point, no matter the challenges that exist, whether it be between our teachers, whether it be with those at the governmental level, at the Tobago House of Assembly, ultimately, the ones that face the real impact are our very own students. And let's try to keep that as minimal as possible, and therefore we look forward to some kinds of resolutions happening to allow us to move forward in a progressive manner, giving the nation's children a fair opportunity in terms of having that full access to education. All right, viewers, at this point, we head on over to news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Julian. I am Candice Jackson, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Tuesday, 6th September 2022. Although it was back to school on Monday, many students barely spent a few hours at their respective schools in Tobago. Many teachers heeded the call from tutor to use Monday as a day to rest and reflect in protest against the Chief Personnel Officer's 4% offer for salary increases. As a result, students were sent home early. Principals warned parents ahead of time that teachers may not attend the first day of school, and some students were kept at home. However, all teachers expected to be present at school are expected to be present at school today. The Caribbean Examinations Board reported lower results and pass rates for CSEC and CAPE examinations. Students received their results yesterday evening. Reports are that less than half of the candidates for mathematics and English in CSEC examinations did not pass. Meanwhile, CXC reported lower pass rates for all subject areas at both the CSEC and CAPE levels. The lower pass rates were attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic, which disrupted education and forced classes to go online. Many students struggled with a lack of access to devices and connectivity to effectively continue with their education. And now nationally, the Scrap Iron Dealers Association of Trinidad and Tobago has written a letter to the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Nkosi Okonjo-Iweala, seeking the organization's intervention in the current 6-month ban on scrap metal exports from the country. Alan Ferguson, the president of the association, in a news release yesterday said this country has been a member of WTO since March 1995, which means it is required to adhere to the guidelines and policies of the organization. The organization prohibits discrimination between trading partners and provides exceptions for environmental protection, national security, and other important goals. And that was the news in 90 seconds. It is back to you, Julian.
Thank you there so much, Candice. And I want to take this opportunity coming out of the news there to extend congratulations to all our students that would have received those CXC results yesterday. And I want to let you know, I've always lived by the mantra as guided by both my parents. They've always indicated when you're complete with an examination, there's no stressing in between. You just got to wait for the results. And when the results are out, whether it's good, bad, or in between, you've got to make a decision in terms of your next step. And therefore, I want to encourage all our students and to send congratulations for those that would have done exceptionally well, those that would have also done well. And for those who didn't do too well, remember, you still got to determine your next step in terms of how are you going to overcome this hurdle. And it's not about giving up at this point. So we want to continue to encourage our students and young persons to always strive for achieving the very best and always striving for excellence indeed. All right. I also want to make mention of the fact that we had some parents, concerned parents, reaching out in terms of regarding the Calder Hall area, to be specific. And we want to give a gentle reminder for those of you tuned in and listening via radio this morning, and those of you looking on as you prepare your students, and that would be students heading to the Scarborough Methodist School and students heading to the St. Andrew's Anglican School. Both schools, as you're aware, side by side in the Calder Hall area. Please remember the traffic flow in terms of one-way traffic. And if my information is correct, my understanding is the one-way flow is coming from the vicinity of the administrative building. That's the office of the Chief Secretary there in the Calder Hall area, heading towards the both schools there. So basically, it will allow your vehicle to pass by both schools right on the left-hand side to do a safe dropout, and then heading straight back out to the highway by the traffic light. So it's a one-way traffic flow. And if by chance you can also utilize coming in that direction, I think it is the Calder Hall Branch Road. So there might be the need for us to have some police on that end, just to remind our parents of the one-way flow, which is intended to allow a quick transition in that area. I'm certain we can all remember the times years ago when both schools started functioning in that area and trying to use the roadway as a dual, and the challenges that would have occurred, and hence the reason for looking at that traffic plan that facilitates a one-way flow to comfortably allow for drop-off on a morning. So we just want to remind the parents about that and calling on the TTPS, the police, just to assist with providing some guidance so that parents get back into this flow. I know it's been a while. It's probably been, just about 2 months going through the July-August vacation. And yes, it may have slipped some in the mix. So as a gentle reminder in terms of maintaining from that regard. And as we're talking schools, as I mentioned earlier, we saw some action being taking place yesterday. And therefore, on with us this morning, we have a follow-up discussions with Braden Roberts, Tobago officer of tutor, as we get some insight into the happenings of yesterday at schools, both at the Tobago level and at the national level. We'll also be chatting with Anselm Richards, economist and political analyst, as we speak to the upcoming date has been announced, Monday the 26th of September for budget, all right, at Trinidad and Tobago to be presented by the Minister of Finance. So we chat with Anselm Richards, economist and political analyst, regarding the national budget expectations. And this morning we will also be in conversation and we speak to the IAACA conference that's taking place, and we will be speaking to the founding director of the International Advocacy Against Child Abuse, and that's IAACA, International Advocacy Against Child Abuse, and we'll be chatting with Anne Natasha II in relation to the upcoming conference. All right, we're heading straight on into birthday celebrations this morning here on the Tobago Updates morning show. And who do we have on the lineup for birthday celebrations? We start this morning sending out birthday celebrations to Jad Andrews. Jad Andrews wishing you a happy birthday this morning. We continue along sending birthday shout-outs to Sean Anthony. Sean Anthony, this is your day, this is your time. We trust that you have an enjoyable birthday celebration this morning. Ethan Archie, all right, wishing Ethan Archie a happy birthday. Ethan Archie, all the best. And we're sending birthday shout-outs to Abiola Clement. Abiola Clement, we want to wish you a happy birthday. And this comes from Candice Jackson and the entire Tobago Updates family, wishing you a happy birthday, Abiola Clement. So viewers, we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support as we prepare to head on in to our first interview with Braden Roberts, the Tobago officer for tutor. And we want to remind you, those of you connecting with us via TV, yes, those viewers out there via Gael and M&E TV, morning to each and every one of you. We want to also shout out our listeners on Smash Radio and our listeners on Street 91.9 FM. Good morning to each and every one of you. And those of you connecting with us online, we want to remind you that this is your opportunity to ensure that you share the live, share the live, share the live.
Good morning, put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to
Live,
place.
the concert.
Says our destiny.
Friday, 23rd September.
The night before Republic Day.
She
says our destiny. To get next to me. At the concert capital, the Queen's Park Savannah.
Live, the concert. Mavado and his full band.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
I said I can't wait for Tobago in October.
Mamai Lakai Home Services. We specialize in cleaning of carpets and rugs, mattresses, living room and dining room sets, vehicle detailing, cleaning and sanitizing of homes and commercial spaces. We also do landscaping and tree cutting, pressure and power washing, floor care, fumigating and air purifying. You can also call us for professional painting services, babysitting and adult sitting. Call us now 333-4430 at Mamai Lakai Home Services. We take cleaning to another level.
when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. It's 7:14 a.m. We're coming to you here live from our studios at the Port Mall in Scarborough. And just before we head on into this segment this morning, we've got another birthday celebration in the lineup. And waiting for that photo to come up on screen this morning, we want to send birthday shout-outs to Christian Springer. And this is greetings coming from her mom and dad and the entire Tobago Updates family. Christian Springer, wishing you a happy, happy birthday indeed this morning. All right, viewers, so at this point we head on into discussions with Braden Roberts, Tobago officer of TUTA, the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association. Morning to you, sir.
Good morning, and good morning to the viewing and listening audience.
It seems as is customary at this time of year, education is in focus. One day you have the government, next day you have TUTA, and then you have the THA again, and then you have TUTA. But as we treat with the issues at hand, we would have seen the start to the school term yesterday taking place, and the TUTA would have taken, the TUTA president has said it's not industrial action because that's against the regulations, but TUTA would have taken an opportunity to encourage its teachers to rest and reflect. Tell us about your feelings in terms of what would have been the response yesterday from teachers.
Right, so contrary to previous statements, TUTA is strong and growing. As we would have seen in the support yesterday, we would have had some schools fully taking on board the submission and the call by TUTA. Some schools had none of the administrative staff or teachers out. We had some schools where the turnout would have been less than 10%, some less than 20%, and it ranged. Some schools had about a 50% turnout. So in our overall average on the island would have been about 80% support, and where 20% would have gone out for various reasons.
All right. So the question remains, TUTA would have taken this course of action in response to what is deemed to be an unreasonable kind of response. Give us a little more details with that in relation to the 4% currently being offered for the 6-year period.
All right. So, and we need to be careful how we say 4%. It's 0.02%, it's 2 3-year periods. TUTA is negotiating the first 3-year period. So it's currently a 2% offer given to us. Now, we don't negotiate percentage. I would have been here explaining that sometime in the past. We do a closure of the gap. So where our salary is currently, and look at the market survey, where our salary should be when you look at our comparators. Currently, the gap is in the field of a $6,000 difference. However, TUTA is not out there asking to close the gap, $6,000. We understand the challenges that we are in. However, 2% salary increase that the CPA is offering equates to a 4% closure. Now, to give figures, because persons on hearing the percentage don't understand what it really means for a person receiving that offer. Now, if I'm getting $6,000 a month, 2% salary increase is $120 before tax. Now, 2015 to 2019, I did on the Central Statistical Office, they put out the retail price index change, and there's a 13% increase overall from 2015 to 2021. So someone who was on $7,000 a month salary would now need $7,900+ to buy the same things they bought back in 2015. And you are saying to us, 120, 100 and something, those who may be working for, let's say, $12,000 a month, $300 and something, it's enough to combat a $900 and something increase in cost of living for a $7,000 budget. And of course, the higher the budget, the more money you will need to supplement. It's a disrespectful offer, not only with the amount, but in the manner in which the negotiation is taking place. They are not so much negotiating with TUTA. They are doing a 2% blanket offer, regardless of the union. However you negotiate, this is what we are offering. And we are saying no to such as these politicians who are living on their perks. We would have seen what the Prime Minister makes, what the opposition leader makes, and they are saying to us from their vantage point that 2% is enough for you, while you are up there mismanaging our funds. You're in a political campaign talking about which party wastes money, but nothing happens to these persons who are taking our money and leaving our country. Nothing happens. So it is either we manage the rise in cost of living, the cost of items, or we pay us our salary to combat such. But $120 or 2% does nothing for us.
When you look at across the board, the positions being taken by the CPO, even in terms of treating with the wider public service and what is proposed, and you hear similarly the other unions taking a position, are you concerned any at all for some of the rationales being presented by the government in the context of not being in a financial position to do much better? And we heard the Minister of Finance quote in terms of how many billions it can cost in relation to 4% versus 19% being asked for, you know, in terms of across the board. How do you respond to that concern?
Right. So even in the response I would have put forward a little while, when you see funds being mismanaged, it's difficult to swallow that. I would understand if you are putting forward your best efforts to manage our funds in a prudent manner. Things are tight, we need to butter down. I would understand that. But not with what is happening now. We are seeing money spent on all sorts of things. You continue to hear allegations of mishandling of funds, and then at the same time you're going to tell us we are in a bad state economically. Just before negotiations began, we heard about the oil prices and things looking so good. It's looking good for certain things, but not for negotiations. So I know that we are in a tough state where the economy is concerned, but we can do much better than 2%.
Tell us, what are your expectations now moving from yesterday? I know Tutor may have had a particular objective set, and coming out of yesterday, what can be anticipated in terms of moving things forward for Tutor? Because your ultimate goal would be to be able to provide more for teachers.
Well, to me, the CPO and his principals, which really the government, need to make good sense prevail. They would have seen the seriousness of teachers, and it's not just teachers. I know that PSC will be doing their thing shortly. Different unions have outrightly rejected what is on the table. So they need to see the seriousness and the impact that it could have. We are not going to sit back and allow this strong arming of the government or this strong arming of the CPO. There would be future things should there be no response. So we expect that the CPO will consider all these things and first of all negotiate with Tutor, or we do negotiations. At least start in that respectful manner and speak to us how we are accustomed speaking. And then we do the closure of the gap. We understand that closing the gap 100% or 90% or 80% may be unrealistic considering, but let's get to that point.
So you're saying that Tutor may be prepared to accept not necessarily getting all, but certainly not 2% within the first period and 2% within the second.
And in closure, because I want to stick to closure, 4% closure, it's about $100 and something for those at the lower end, and those who are getting probably $300 extra, and that's before tax. $300 is a gas tank.
So what next for Tutor in this situation?
Well, we of course have to monitor and await the response of the CPO. Should there be a non-response or unfavorable response, we have to get back to the table to firm up on some of the things we would have discussed before and firm up on some of those decisions going forward. And for those who would be of the belief that the timing is wrong and the children and the parents who are upset.
That was my next question.
That was the next question, Sergeant Pagan.
That feeling generally, but go ahead.
All right, so, and I would have heard about children crying, going out to school yesterday. We understand that viewpoint of those affected persons. Who stands up for teachers when teachers are not in a position to stand? When teachers continue to be that level of care and we put that on teachers. So despite your feeling, you can't leave the children, we can't leave the parents who have to go to their job. Who stands up for us when we are not able to stand? At some point in time, and it's one day, persons are giving the response as if we are crippling the system because we took a day, which was announced before. We had some persons giving out the perception that teachers would come out. We know that teachers would give their care and they will come out. They had the warning from before. We didn't surprise the public and just not turn out to schools. We are making a stance. We are making a call. So I would understand, as with the rhetoric, they will try to demonize the association to suit their particular need. But it's one day, us making a stance. One day.
All right. We want to switch on over as well to, you would have been here recently and spoke to some concerns in relation to schools. I'm certain you would have had a very busy day yesterday engaging with and doing your visits in relation to the schools, particularly what has been happening with the school repair programs. Give us your assessment based on the visits that you were able to do yesterday.
All right, so I remain disappointed, and I would say why. Instead of dealing with the issues, we are spinning the issues to politics and who like who and a personal story. Now, I'm starting with that because if we're not focusing on the issue, because the Tobago officer comments doesn't fix a school. Those at the helm have to go out there and do the job. And I'm not seeing that happening even now. What I'm getting from principals is that they are having these late night meetings to decide when we're opening school. The schools need to fix. We need to be, and it's not just Scarborough Secondary School, and it's not just Speyside.
Speyside, we don't
There
build
are
up
a
those
lot
two
of
schools.
other schools that they would have kind of capped off where the repairs would have reached, and they're having these negotiations with the principals and so on, and we are hoping that schools will not be too dysfunctional. What we are doing as an association in protecting everyone, because health and safety is not a teacher or a tutor issue, it's everybody. When we don't come out and advocate for proper repairs, the school that you are sending as parents, sending your children to, if they get injured, who do we blame? The principal as the manager of the plant? So some of these schools, the repairs are not to the standard. So we understand where we are at. What I would expect is that we have a little honesty and a way forward. A lot of these principals, for example, Speyside this morning, I think the last information I got, they were asked to bring out forms 1, 4, and 5. Up to late last night, I was told that the toilets for the students, they didn't have doors on them just yet. So we are having these responses to show that we're in charge of it and things we are managing. And it's not the case on the ground. And all I have been doing is trying to bring this to the attention of the persons in authority so we can fix the school.
So we would have had yesterday, we had the opportunity to have on with us Assistant Secretary Orlando Kerr speaking to some of these issues. One of the things that would have been raised, a number of these issues that you're raising at this point, and I know you raised concerns similarly in relation to meetings and so on. How has the progress been with that? Has there been any follow-up in that regard?
So if I'm just to respond to that shameful interview that took place yesterday, we reach out to the division to negotiate over a table. So we don't have what is happening now. I am out here advocating on a daily basis because that's where they are, social media. Now, to discredit the speaker because I can't deal with the truth is an age-old tactic. So I'm not fazed. Labeling me a PNM, talking about, and telling lies about what I said about the secretaries as is zesting, that never came out of my mouth. To talk about the secretaries, just that never came out of my mouth. Let us deal with the issue now. You purporting to deal with the truth and fearless, but a set of lies were told on this station yesterday. If we are to be honest and to just reflect, now I came in 2020. When I was in the media every day talking about the administration then, was I a PDP? It's the issues. So let's get to the particular matters. To blame public servants now is very unfortunate. When we were marching, Huey in the office hiding from tutor, Kelvin in the office hiding from tutor, were they signing approvals back then? Were they doing such? When we call on the minister, is that the minister sign off on these things? You are the head of the association, of that particular body, of that particular division. When I mention Gala as a reference point, it was a reference, but that was not my focus. I am saying you all are not focusing on education. I am seeing more of this. I wasn't talking about Gala. It's a reference point. Now, when you are not focused, the public servants could strong arm you. You as secretary, assistant secretary, you don't give an order and turn away and go off, especially if you don't trust the persons you are giving instructions to. You need to be vigilant. And my call was for these persons to understand, because I appreciate what is happening at the division. It's not an easy thing. My job is much easier than the secretary because I focus on the things that are not going well and let them know what is not going well. They have to focus on the things that are going well, what have a tendency to fall, what is falling, so they have a big task. instead of embracing me, you have a standoff, warish approach, which for today, it doesn't fix the school. And for those who are running with it, it's very unfortunate. The actions of those persons, it doesn't cause the school to fix.
So the question would be: would these matters documented to the division on the part of tutor?
So throughout,
because that was one of the issues raised yesterday as well, with your prior appearance and speaking to some of the issues in a general way. Were these matters documented to tutor, and in a similar manner, is there documentation as a reminder and as a call for these meetings on the part of to the Division of Education?
All right, so let's address the meetings. And even the submission about the meetings, and there may have been one meeting, and oh, come on. You were sent a letter where we were supposed to have a meeting, where the administrator was so disrespectful in just not having a meeting come up. To say you spoke to the administrator and then they didn't follow up, then you already did anything? You just tell the administrator to do better. What you did?
So your normal course would have been to ensure. So what you're doing is confirming that the documentation would have gone to the division through the administrator.
One of the principles, anything that is not written isn't said.
Correct.
So we write. I would have sent a spreadsheet of issues in January. The said secretary commended me for being organized. You did nothing with the data. And now, because I'm speaking about it, it's a PNM thing.
So how do we move forward from here, Braden, from the perspective of tutor? Because yes, you did mention it's probably easier for tutor in terms of raising the issues. The question here at hand, we are hearing the perspective of the Tobago House of Assembly through the Assistant Secretary yesterday, identifying that there are clearly challenges within the division and where it is individuals appeared to have been creating further problems. And we even heard broad indications by the Secretary attempts to sabotage the school repair program. From the perspective of tutor, you have clearly identified what are concerns in relation to an inability to be able to deliver. And in 2022, we are once again at this point in relation to school repairs. What is proposed as the way forward? One of the methods spoken to yesterday is the introduction of this maintenance over the course of an extended period. Hiring staff and so on for a new team to ensure that maintenance happens year round and that the limitation is not just to the July-August period to treat with repairs. What's the recommendations on the part of tutor to move us forward in a position where our students are not placed at a disadvantage?
All right. Communication is the key to it all. Instead of having a standoffish approach with the association should be embraced. Now, for me, I would have wanted someone who is bringing the issues to which I'm in charge of close to me. So at least if I know what the issues are and we could be proactive in dealing with those things, we could have those things addressed. When there is a standoffish approach, we cannot. So the first order of business is to have a proper communication channel. We can't meet every day. We can't meet every week, but we need to have structured meetings so that we can address the issues. That's one. To say that we plan to do. No, that plan, it may not have been, they took it from what I submitted, but that's a recommendation I submitted in ending of April. That instead of us waiting for schools to get bad, get a team where you pull persons from, specialists from either from works or referred to as works, have a team, zone them, so that these persons could check various schools. It may not have been from my submission, it may have been their own idea. I don't need to have any stamp of a name to it. But it's a promise. We were promised so many things. There are a lot of HR matters that I don't raise just yet. We were promised that they're going to bring in a team to deal with HR matters. It hasn't happened yet. So we have been promised that they're going to change how they are going to deal with repairs. It hasn't happened yet. But with communication, we could really manage this thing and see how best even that idea could roll out. Communication will be needed, and engaging the stakeholders in a meaningful way would allow even those ideas to be a success. We have seen in the past, a lot of politicians come. They have ideas. If you don't do proper consultation where you appreciate the submission of all, you wouldn't get the buy-in. you would not get that level of success as you planned to have. So, I mean, I want to start communication. I am not demanding any particular time with any of the secretaries or the administrator. I know there is a busy portfolio, but we need to appreciate what we both bring to the table and move forward from there. That's the way forward.
All right, so at least we hear the commitment on the part of tutor in terms of being able to move things forward ultimately for the betterment of our students. The way forward for tutor in this particular timing, would it be the insistence on meetings to move us ahead? Would it be the insistence as completion of the works to be done? Or notwithstanding either or, tutor will continue to encourage its teachers to meet their ultimate obligation in terms of, because it's no secret, Braden, that after 2 years of a pandemic, I don't know about everyone else, but I have a different level of an appreciation for teachers having had to be at home supporting your child by way of an online platform in terms of moving things along. So I want to get a sense from tutor, and we have heard at the national level conversations taking place as it regards digitization and advancing the work of the education system with e-classrooms and so on. What's the perspective of tutor in terms of that kind of futuristic look?
All right, so similarly as I advocate here, I do the same thing with the government. I am in the media speaking of these promises that the minister is also putting forward. There isn't the consultation there to have this thing be a success, so we advocate for such. Digitizing doesn't just come easy like saying it, There's a lot of behind the scenes work that is needed. There is a lot of perspectives from the different stakeholders that they need to have. What we have in Trinidad as stakeholder meetings, you have about 10 different bodies, and you have either a 1 minute, 2 minute window to speak. There isn't the banter and the going through the nitty-gritty of the thing where we come to a conclusion. So digitizing sounds good. It's not easy to just click and say we're going online. There's a lot of planning behind the scenes, and we are hoping that as you have an appreciation for teachers and teaching, more persons will see how challenging it is. It's not as easy as just saying we're going to improve the system. And that's why we're calling for us to be at the table. So there's a similar call in Trinidad, So it's not a Tobago tutor is a different tutor. It's the same. We want consultation to ensure that we have a meaningful change. What we don't want is that persons who come into the different administration, whether it is Trinidad or in Tobago, because you have a 4-year window or 5-year window to stamp your name for a future 4 or 5 years, you are putting out things. We need to sit together and plan the thing properly to move forward. If I could give one reference, we had remedial teachers in the past, where these teachers would pull out some students who are not doing well and work on such. We had Mr. Charles came in, found that wasn't such a good idea. He changed it to have instructional coaches and pulled that remedial teacher system on his own. Now, his idea of instructional coaches may have been a good idea. There wasn't any consultation, so the rollout of it isn't bringing the kind of success that he probably envisioned. And what we are asking for, when the division have their things, tutor as the ground team, have tutor at the table so we can get that level from the ground as well. And that's why I'm disappointed, because there are 2 teachers there now who understand the dynamic of the thing and we're not having it.
Braden, very quickly, before we wrap this morning, we have a question coming in that speaks to perceived conflict of interest, and it would have come out as well. I know that we would have heard some initial responses. Just to give you the opportunity to clarify, being the owner of an entity, construction firm and so on, and some people indicating that part of the personal response is because Braden has previously enjoyed Tobago House of Assembly contracts and he's not getting that as he would like now. What do you have to say on those matters to bring some clarification?
Right, so before I respond to that, I would just reiterate, when you can't deal with the facts and the truth, discredit the character that bringing it, so that then it does not have that weight. But I will entertain those persons. Being a teacher, I never got education contract. Being in tutor, there's still that conflict of interest, so I never got any contract from education. What they are doing there, they would have gone on that same system, pull out my company name, and circulating it as evidence that I'm getting contracts. So if I register a company, I'm being fed contracts. I did business when I went to UTT, and with the business idea, it's fitting to have a business as a citizen. So I had registered a company when I came out from college, and I tender endlessly. It's disappointing, as all other contractors would say. You're tendering. Sometimes you don't get called, you don't have any feedback. So from time to time, and I would have had contracts being fed to me by the previous administration. I registered my company in 2014 or 2015, I believe, 2015. And if I am to count the amount of jobs I would have gotten, it may not have been even more than 3 jobs. I tender all the time. I'm a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, you know. But let's ask, if I was fed jobs by the previous administration, does that fix this school now? Does that make this school safe now? So I'm not entertaining the distraction. I just wanted to say, nobody to say I'm running from the question. It does not fix the issue. So when we have these politicians bringing deceptive language, and you're wiring up your fan base to have this deceptive language, it does not fix the issue. I am out here talking about the issue, not on anyone's character. When the schools are not fixed, we have teachers, students, and parents' concerns to address, and that's what I'm doing here. My job.
All right, so folks, we've heard the clarification being brought forward there. Thank you so much, Braden Roberts, Tutor Tobago Officer, for joining us here on set. And very important to note, we are getting the commitment here from Braden in relation to Tutor. They are prepared to work with the administration in order to ensure at the end of the day, ultimately, that our students are the ones able to derive maximum benefit from our education system. All right, viewers, we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support, and as we prepare to head on into our next interview, this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Life, the concert.
Says our destiny.
Friday, 23rd September.
The night before Republic Day. She says our destiny. She get next to me. At the concert capital, the Queen's Park Savannah.
Life, the concert. Mavado and his full band.
Come let we go, come let we go, come let we go to sweet Tobago. Come let we go, come till you know, come find your soul in sweet Tobago. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers. It is 7:43 a.m. and never a dull moment here in studio at the Tobago Updates, a studio here located at the Port Mall in Scarborough. As we continue in this segment, we'll be having discussions with Anselm Richards, economist and political analyst, as we speak to the national budget expectations. And before we dive into the expectations at the budget, we want to just put this into context. Morning to you, Mr. Richards.
Morning. Thanks for having me. Morning Tobago, morning world, wherever you are.
So we want to put the discussions into context and start from the premise of reminding persons the requests put forward on the part of the Tobago House of Assembly at the recent budget presentation that took place a little earlier in this year, yes. Led by Chief Secretary and the Secretary with Responsibility for Finance, the Honorable Fali Augustine.
All right, so let me just get it for you. Good morning and thanks for having me. This is the time when we need to pay attention to what is happening and what the government is proposing. So in the Tobago context, the THA would have made a request for $3.9 billion. let me just get the figures. I think it's 3.1 for recurrent expenditure and just under 900 million for development. That works out to, let me give you the precise, because we predicated that against a projection in terms of what the national budget is likely to be based on a 20-year trend in the growth of the national budget. So the figure was not just pulled out of the hat. It was done by a projection. We calculated a GIF factor, they call it, in terms of how the budget was growing over the last 20 years or increasing. And we use that and we asked for 6.9%. So I am pulling the
and that
numbers up.
6.9% would have been premised against a national
A
budget.
national budget of, I think it's $59 billion.
All right. So
Yeah,
we have
yes.
seen the date announced as the 26th of September, Monday the 26th of September. What are the expectations this time around, given what has been described as the current economic climate? We just had tutor on. We're seeing a number of unions clamoring, in terms of increases for their members and persons both within the teaching service, public service, etc. We've heard commitments in relation to nurses, and at the same time, while we are hearing that things are getting better, we're still not yet at that point in terms of the economy. What, therefore, with all those mixed views coming forward, what, therefore, our expectations come for the national budget guarded for the 26th of September?
Well, let me say this. The minister and the central government has some key issues to attend to in the economy, given where we are. First of all, they must have some kind of strategic economic and fiscal and financial response to the, what we call the crazy inflationary pressures and winds that are blowing in the national economy. And that also has to be attended to. If you look across, it's a global phenomenon. If you look across the globe, you see all the countries are looking at ways how they can ease the inflationary impact on the lives of their citizens. And I am patiently awaiting to see what strategy the Rowley administration is going to deploy in this budget going into fiscal 2023. The other issue we have to pay some attention to, there's a growing level of unemployment in the economy. That has to be attended to. We have to look also at the impact that COVID-19 would have had on education in this country. We saw the impact in this manifesting itself in the results of the C exam last year. This year, C exam results. And therefore, there has to be some purposeful intervention on the part of the central government to recover the learning losses that were experienced by students because of the lockdown of COVID-19. And I want to see what the government is proposing and how they are proposing to treat with that issue. There's also the issue of food production and productivity in the economy. That's a issue we need to pay attention to, because that has its impact also or contributing to the inflationary pressure that we are feeling. So that's a major issue. But one of the issues that the government has to pay some serious attention and make some serious investment is in the issue of public safety and security. And that has been a problem with us for the last 20 plus years. Right? We have had Commissioner of Police, we have had Gary Griffith, we know how that ended. The Prime Minister is now saying that is the greatest mistake he has made in his political career to appoint Mr. Griffith as Commissioner of Police. We have the whole issue with firearm licensing. And when we look at the violent situation in the country, it is not getting any better. So those are the critical areas I will pay attention to see how the government is responding in terms of its policy and programming for fiscal 2023, as to how it's going to treat those issues that are impacting the life of the population directly. Those are having direct impact on the lives and livelihood of the people.
Are you hopeful that the government is in the best, well, I shouldn't say the best, but is in the kind of financial position required to be able to speak to all those areas collectively, or some levels of prioritizing will have to happen?
Well, I guess the country, in terms of its financial situation, is experiencing some level of improvement because of the buoyancy in the oil and gas prices.
Right.
So there are some resources in the system for the government to exercise some kind of multiple response and not really sacrificing any way, but it has to have some level of rationalization because the resources are limited. So I expect the government to deploy the required resources to respond in response to these problems that are affecting the economy. How they are going to do that, we await that in the budget presentation on 26. But those are the issues. Education. There are some issues in the health sector that are lingering from the COVID-19 experience, but I think that the population will respond to that in its own way, the traditional medicine and so forth. People have a tendency of investing in their health once they have the resources. So I'm not going to put the pressure, but there is some attention to be paid to the health sector. Education is critical. National security, the inflation situation in the country, and unemployment.
Are you hopeful? We've seen the requests coming forward for what is the upper limit. We've also seen the political banter taking place in the circle that speaks to a reminder by the PNM that if there was agreement in terms of the bill for autonomy for Tobago, the 6.9% by now would have been guaranteed. You saw responses by the Chief Secretary saying, well, even without a bill, let me remind you that this is the upper limit, and therefore, even without the approval of a self-governance bill, the current, in terms of the dispute resolution outcome, speaks to just over 4% and going as high as just under 7%, I think 6.8 or 6.9%, saying that it is available. Are you very hopeful as an economist at this time around we are going to see anything well over 4 or 5 or even the possibility of 5% of the national budget?
Well, I am
far more, 6.9%.
We have done our work. We have done the calculation. And based on our calculation, we estimate that the national budget is going to be $57.4 billion. That's the projection based on the growth pattern of the budget over the last 22 years. And we are saying that the time has come for us to be fed at the upper end of the dispute resolution recommendation, 6.9%. That's our presentation. I am not going to trade off and say, well, give us 5.6. No. We made our case. We sent this to the Minister of Finance. We have asked for some budgetary conversation. Those things are being worked out before the 26th. I hope that we'll be able to engage the Minister and his team in Port-au-Prince so we can reinforce our arguments and our demands and why we need these funds, given where we want to go with Tobago, based on where we are, the issues that we have inherited, and therefore we are standing firm that at this particular point in time, and given the buoyancy in the revenue situation in the country, it is only fair and proper that Tobago be afforded 6.9% of the national budget, predicated against a national budget of $57.4 billion. That's the position of the THA. I am not going to trade off anything on that. We will have those hard conversations with the Minister and his team in Port-au-Prince because I think our arguments and our technical work are strong, and the nation saw the budget presentation, and I think that it will be difficult for the Minister and the Prime Minister to say no to Tobago, because if they say no to Tobago, I will urge all Tobagonians to block them at the airport or the seaport and ask them why.
Why they have said no.
Why they have said no.
But beyond the 26, when we know what we're working with as an island, there has been questions raised because of where Tobago needs to get to in terms of its development thrust and moving the island forward, that unfortunately, we cannot rely exclusively on the allocation that comes by way of central government. What are your hopes and aspirations in terms of us being able to look at other avenues and sources in terms of funding, whether it be opportunities through borrowing and so on, investments into the island? What are your considerations in that regard?
All right, so that's a very important question, because we know that even the 6.9% or the $3.9 billion that we're asking for will not be sufficient to do the kind of, or finance the kind of food program that this administration has in mind and where it wants to take Tobago to the best little island in the planet, right? That this money can't do that. So in the budget presentation, you recall that there is a definite policy strategy to talk about foreign direct investment and the diaspora activation. So we are seeing those opportunities as bringing additional funding into the island to fund some of the development challenges that we are facing, or the development program that we have identified as being necessary. We are looking at PPP, which is public-private partnership, to execute some of our development work. We are looking at direct foreign investment, more so in the hotel and tourism sector, that build out those plans. So we will probably provide the kind of support that these investors are looking for in terms of probably lands and or even getting into partnership with the investors. We are also mobilizing. We have a very large diaspora community across the globe, and they have skills, they have resources. We want to have a clear policy position and a clear pathway for our citizens, Tobagonians living abroad who has the resources and who are interested in investing in Tobago to get that opportunity to be executed and implemented with the least set of interruption. So that's a clear strategy that this administration has in terms of it is looking what I would call off-budget financing for some of the development projects that we have in mind for the movement of the island towards that destination of being the best little island on the planet.
All right. So there's definitely that projection. As we look to wrap this morning's interview, Anselm, your closing words, any reminders? You know, I want to get that economist side of your hopes and aspirations.
Well, I am hoping, and as I said, I am very practical. You know, I look at the national situation, I look at the global situation, and there are some outstanding issues that, as a country, we need to pay attention to. They are having serious impact on the lives of families, individuals, and communities. And it has to do with inflation. The price of food is beyond the reach of many of our citizens and our brothers and sisters. The government has to do some level of intervention to see how we can bring relief, especially to the lower class of people in the society that are the daily workers and so forth, that are being negatively impacted. We have to deal with education. Our students have lost probably a year and a half of learning experience because of how the education system was violently interrupted because of COVID-19 pandemic. We have the issue of security. The issue of security. The first and primary responsibility of a government is the security of its citizen. If a government cannot guarantee the security of its people, it has no business being in government. We have to fix this issue of security in this country. And the whole criminal justice system, Mr. Archie, the prison, which is the judiciary, the prison and the police, that has to be aligned to deliver safety and security. There is no thing at looking at the police service. There's a whole system that is called the criminal justice system. The system is broken, and the Prime Minister and his government has to do the kind of intervention and investment to fix the criminal justice system in this country. And we have to look at our infrastructural requirements in Tobago, our roadway and so forth, and even building out our industrial parks to generate employment outside of the THA and really boost the private sector in Tobago. That's where we are heading.
All right. And we have a quick question coming in. What would have stopped the diaspora from investing in the first place?
What would have stopped them?
The question is that we've always had the diaspora connections, and that's one of the areas of focus in terms of generating additional revenue coming into the island.
Yeah.
And someone is asking, what would have stopped it in the first place, that the diaspora from investing within the Tobago space?
Right.
Were there the systems in place to facilitate?
That's a self-answering question. There was no formal arrangement to encourage the diaspora to invest. To remove some of the logjam and the roadblocks. Doing business in this country is a very tedious and tiring experience. You will know that. You go to the bank to do a business, it's 5 hours. You go to a government department to get a form filled out, it's 3 hours. What we are doing is building out a program that will create the pathway, that will make it very easy for our citizens who are abroad and willing to invest, will have the necessary institutional support, the government support, to have their investment executed in Tobago. And that is where the encouragement is coming from. And we are establishing formal connectivity and encouraging our diaspora to participate in the development of the island. The plans for the Heritage Festival next year is really branded the Homecoming, the Pilgrimage, which is really encouraging our diaspora to come back and really to highlight and elevate the connection of Tobagonians back to their homeland. That is really where the interest is in. Because if you just have them out there and they're not building these relationships with the government and the people and even creating opportunity for family reunion, probably, the families coming back, you give them a community center free from the THA, you give them whatever support they may want. So you build that culture of connectivity. That is where you're going to spur on the investment from the diaspora.
To be able to make that connection with the diaspora.
Yes,
all right, folks, we've heard it here this morning. Anselm Richards, economist and political analyst, is joining us to have the discussions on the national budget expectations for 2022-2023. heading into this new fiscal term. We want to thank you so much for the continued love and support, each and every one of you joining us via Gael, those of you joining us via M&E TV, those on the radio, Smash Radio, and the Street 91.9 FM, and each and every one of you connecting with us online. Let me give a quick shout out to some of those online with us: Anderson, Carol, Sama. I'm seeing Charlene also online. I'm seeing connecting with us this morning Kyuki Melville, Lisel James, Nicole Henry, Jaron Smith, and we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support. And yes, I'm also going through my WhatsApp simultaneously because I know you're all messaging me saying, don't forget, we at home watching on too, or we listening on the radio, we may not be online. No, I have not forgotten our viewers via TV and our listeners on the radio. So we want to thank you so much for the continued love and support for the Tobago Updates morning show. We've come to the end of the morning show this morning, but stay tuned because we're going to head into Tobago Notes and straight over to GMT with Candice. Take care. Bye-bye.
Precious, you're never gonna get my love, accepting that you're real, real precious. You're never gonna cramp my style, baby, cause I get a lot of pleasure. Come let we go, and if you wanna come let we go, come let we go to sweet Tobago. Come let we go, come till you know, come find your soul in sweet Tobago.
Advertise with Tobago Updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gael. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Susaland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
Never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Life, the concert.
Says our destiny.
Friday, 23rd September.
The night before Republic Day.
She says our destiny, she get next to me.
At the concert capital, the Queen's Park, Savannah.
Life, the concert. Mavado and his full band.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Yeah. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denicia. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candice Jackson, and let's get started with the news in 90 seconds. Although it was back to school on Monday, many students barely spent a few hours at their respective schools in Tobago. Many teachers heeded the call from tutor to use Monday as a day to rest and reflect in protest against the Chief Personnel Officer's 4% offer for salary increases. As a result, students were sent home early. Principals also warned parents ahead of time that teachers may not attend the first day of school. Some students were kept at home. However, all teachers are expected to be present at school today. Meanwhile, the Caribbean Examinations Board reported lower results and pass rates for CSEC and CAPE examinations. Students received their results yesterday evening. Reports are that less than half of the candidates for mathematics and English in the CSEC examinations did not pass. Meanwhile, CXC reported lower pass rates for all subject areas in both CSEC and CAPE levels. The lower pass rates were attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic, which disrupted education and forced classes to go online. Many students struggled with the lack of access to devices and connectivity to effectively continue with their education. And nationally, the Scrap Iron Dealers Association of Trinidad and Tobago has written a letter to the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Nkosi Okonjo-Iweala, seeking the organization's intervention in the current 6-month ban on scrap metal exports from the country. Alan Ferguson, the president of the association, in a news release yesterday said this country has been a member of the WTO since March 1995, which means it is required to adhere to the guidelines and policies of the organization. The organization prohibits discrimination between trading partners, but provides exceptions for environmental protection, national security, and other important goals. And that was the news in 90 seconds. And now getting straight on into our program today, like first guest on the lineup is none other than Ann Natasha II, and she is here in the capacity of founding director of the International Advocacy Against Child Abuse. Good morning and welcome to you. How are you doing?
I'm quite good. Good morning, Candice. Good morning to Tobago. Good morning to the region.
All right, so first of all, just tell me a little bit about the Advocacy for Child Abuse, International Advocacy for Child Abuse.
Yes, so International Advocacy for Child Abuse is a non-governmental organization here in Tobago. It was registered formally in 2009. We generally focus on educating families and communities about the very negative effects of child abuse, various forms of child abuse, and how to mitigate against those effects. We usually do seminars, conferences, we've done short story competitions, workshops, etc., to help to get people involved in the discussion.
And the second, I mean, this is something that I know that's dear to your heart, because there's a story that you always tell, and I mean, maybe you could tell it again, I mean, about an encounter that you had many years ago with a student that you found out that was being abused at home, and you know that would have started your advocacy.
Yes, for me it was not necessarily the act of incest, but how it was treated. It actually led me to do a book and a series of workshops on the treatment of incest and domestic violence and trauma in small island states and economies. There's a lot of violence, a lot of domestic violence, a lot of incest, a lot of trauma taking place in the homes, but how we treat with it is what kind of keeps it concealed and prolongs it and so on. So yeah, that was the initial case where I don't feel it was resolved at all. I feel most of the players, all of the stakeholders participated in actively concealing it. Things have improved since then. More people are talking out about incest, domestic violence, etc. But more work needs to be done.
Yeah. So could you tell me a little bit about some of that work? Like what are the challenges that we're faced with right now in, you know, getting the public, the wider public, to realize that this is a problem, and even when it comes to light, that we don't conceal it?
All right. What we have to do is make it less difficult to discuss. We are doing this conference at this point in time. The theme of it is trauma repurposed, repositioning families and communities. We are bringing out students and teachers on Wednesday at the Chopin Cultural Complex, and we're going to have persons like experts like the head of department of UE Institute of Gender Studies and Development, and we're going to have a number of different panelists who are experts in sociology, psychology, and so on, and they're going to stimulate the discussion. One of the things we have to do is make it normal to have conversations, so we don't feel like it's something that is only happening to you, the individual. We understand that it is not just typical of Tobago, it's typical of every society, every social class, etc. We have to make it normal to face the issues and discuss them.
Do you think that as a society is ready for that?
Yes, we need to be ready, because especially after the pandemic, we've had a number of increases in very negative human behavior. We have increase in suicides. We have increase in very violent attacks against women and children. We know, we see it on the media daily. Men aren't coping too well with their emotions and their stresses and so on. Students in schools, the fighting has increased on the streets, in the schools, the behavior is out of control, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, across the region, across the world. So we have to deliberately impact behavior, both in the family context and within our different social institutions like our school settings and our communities.
And I mean, since beginning your organization, well, first of all, how long have you had this organization?
Well, we started the movement in 2008, but we were formally registered in 2009.
Okay, so since then, so since 2009, 2008, what progress has been made, in terms of adjusting the mindset of Tobagonians towards, dealing with incest and sexual abuse and all these things that turn up?
Things are better now in terms of the amount of information that is available and the number of institutions that collaborate to sort of get the word out. However, we cannot stop with the education, because we have new parents all of the time. We have situations like we just went through with the pandemic where things were new. We had a new experience of being locked away, of being restricted and so on. And families have to be coached and supported into remembering how to treat each member in the family. So I would say we have progress in terms of the growing awareness, but more work needs to be done.
Okay, so can you just go into a little bit of details about that conference that you're having this week? Now you have one for the students and teachers, and then there's another one for the public. So just go into a little bit of detail about what people can expect and how can people get involved.
Right, so on Wednesday we're doing the conference launch itself. As I mentioned, that will be at Chopin Cultural Complex from 9 to 2. We have students there, primary and secondary level students, as well as tertiary students, but the general public is free to come as well, especially if you're interested in this kind of discourse. That will include panel discussions, etc. Friday is the real meat of the matter, where we will be looking at the topic, trauma repurposed, and looking at how we get something positive out of our traumatic experiences. And we'll have a lot of book readings, persons doing spoken word, persons just reflecting on the topic and discussing it based on their own experiences and so on. So that one will be a little more intimate. The general public is invited.
Is there a cost attached?
We have not applied a cost for the Wednesday and Friday sessions because those are the educational aspects. We do have some upcoming fundraising events. On the 24th of September, we are looking to have a walkathon and breakfast sale, and the entire package is about $400. You get t-shirt, bottle, bandana, wristband, and we march in our groups, the youth councils, the police groups, schools, etc. We come out together, church groups, etc., and we march together to bring awareness. So that one has a cost to it. And then later on, we have a talent show, October 8th. So we'll come back and talk a little bit more about that, where we want to continue to interpret the topic, trauma repurposed. How can we find good things after traumatic experiences?
And I want to talk about that topic a little bit. I mean, why did you choose that topic? Because, trauma is, a big deal. I mean, we don't really, as a society, we don't really understand the trauma associated when it comes to abuse and incest and all these things. Mm-hmm. But you are choosing to not just deal with the trauma, but to repurpose it into something positive.
Yes. because a number of people have traumatic experiences. That is any kind of emotional response to something that is shocking, something that is difficult. It could be, it doesn't have to be like a sexual abuse like incest or domestic violence. It could be an accident where you lose loved ones. It could be this pandemic that we just came out of, where some people lost their jobs, lost their very close family members, had to go to several different funerals of friends and family. And they don't know how to share the fact that they are not coping. They just show up to work or to school or whatever, and they just continue. But a lot of negative stuff is stirring up in them, and they're responding in a very negative way. So we need opportunities where people can learn what the positive coping methods are, and try to help people to get that in their regular life, their regular routine. Yeah.
And then, of course, I'm getting a little bit into what is to come in the conference, but, could you briefly touch on some of those positive ways in which, we can turn around our trauma?
Mm-hmm. We need support systems. If you notice, when people are going through various forms of depression, one of the first things that you see is withdrawal. They stop hanging out with friends, they stop going to events and so on. Or you can have the opposite reaction. You are overly involved in things that aren't usually part of your character. You overdrink, you over-affect, you overindulge. So what we are able to do is to teach people things like socializing with people who have positive influences in your life, volunteering to do something, helping others tends to help you to understand that your perspective may just be a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. You may think of yourself as experiencing the worst, and then you help somebody who is a little less fortunate than you, can bring back those positive feelings about yourself and help you to be more positive and so on. Some persons will need to take some sort of drug to balance off the emotions and so on. And you need to be aware of the different opportunities that are there for you to get help. If you find yourself retreating in a dark place mentally or emotionally, there are different persons that you can call so that you can very confidentially and very quietly get the support you need to help you to cope. So increasing your social activities in terms of very healthy ways, so you're not overindulging in anything, taking the necessary medication if you have to for whatever length of time, surrounding yourself with activities that are positive. Those are some of the coping mechanisms.
And what sort of support, is, whether it be counseling, mentorship, that kind of thing, does your organization have or provide?
Well, we work together with different organizations depending on what we're trying to achieve at a particular time. So we will look at our conference as a coalition of different minds and different expertise. So like I said, we're going to have people coming from the social work sector, health, the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. Yeah. We have the Children's Authority. We have sociologists, psychologists, persons who are coming. Like I said, the head of Department of UE, Institute of Gender Studies, they are all coming together. So we partner with persons along the way, depending on what we want to deliver.
All right. So as we're getting ready to wrap up, I just want you to, just give an idea again of when this conference is, just for the viewers that may just be tuning in.
So we're meeting on Wednesday at Shaw Park, 9 to 2. We do have entertainment as well, and on Friday. Friday is for us to do more discussion, book readings, etc. And I just want to thank the THA, they have part-sponsored, and the Teachers Credit Union, they have also done some sponsoring. And what's the time
for Friday?
Friday is also 9 to 2.
Okay, great. And then is there a number, contact? People can reach out to you if they want to get involved?
We can use 474-2200. You can send me an email at IACA, IAACA 311 @gmail.com. So that's IACA 311 @gmail.com.
All right. I want to thank you, Miss Natasha Stacken, for being on with us and for telling us a little bit about the IAACA conference coming up on Wednesday and Friday. Just some very important topics that we need to deal with, and turning our trauma from these horrible circumstances into something positive. Repurposing trauma. I love it. All right, well, viewers, don't go anywhere because we have a lot more coming up for you on our program this morning.
If you see or know about a crime, report a crime safely and anonymously. anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. You can play your part safely and anonymously. Report a crime. Earn a reward. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. Be a hero. Champion. Fearless citizen. Be a crime stopper safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
Good morning, put a smile on your...
I said I can't wait for Tobago in October.
The Street 919 FM and the Tobago Updates presents the Tobago Updates Morning Show live simulcast on the Street 919 FM. Start your day with all the information you want and need with the simulcast of the Tobago Updates Morning Show live Mondays to Fridays from 7 a.m. on the Street 919 FM, the official station that defends the nation.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Are you looking for that all-in-one shopping experience? Then look no more. Visit Lamb's Best Mart for your grocery items, fruits and vegetables, drinks, home items, stationery, gift items, hampers, shopping gift cards, toiletries, small hardware items, and much more. We provide order and pickup service, even delivery to your door. We are your friendly community supermarket. Check us out today at Lamb's Best Mart, located at 22 Daniel Trace Canby, or visit us on social media at Lamb's Best Mart.
Hey, Tobago updates. Na, 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 na. Good morning, Tobago. Na, 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 na. Wake up with Candace and Denicia. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Now we are just jumping straight into our conversation this morning. And we are going to be speaking about, safety for children and, some tips for parents and students and teachers, I guess, as well. I mean, because we have our children are heading back to school. I mean, of course, we had a kind of a rough start yesterday with the unsurety of, whether or not school will be school. But for sure, certainly from today, school begins. But on set with us, we are being joined by Inspector Anderson Alfred from the Sherburne Road Police Station, as well as Woman Police Constable Ian Jordan. Good morning and welcome to you both. How are you guys doing?
Good morning and thank you for having us.
All right, so jumping straight into the conversation. Now, first we're going to talk about, just the safety for our children. What are some of the things that we should be considering as our children are going out to school? What are some of the things that we should be keeping in mind in terms of keeping our children safe?
Thank you. Well, we, as the members of the Tobago Division, we have a message for both parents, teachers, and guardians of students heading back to school. We started with ensuring that the children are mentally ready and prepared because, having been away from the classroom face-to-face and now they're back into it with the large population of other students, we have certain guidelines that we would ensure that the parents, guardians, and teachers are aware of. First, we ask parents and teachers in particular to ensure that their children are ready mentally to deal with the pressures of school, particularly the first formers that enter into secondary school. So we ensure that they are aware of bullying, which is real out there, and how to deal with it. And we also ensure that the students are aware of the reporting structure or the way in which they deal with being bullied or being threatened in any way. There's also the issue of cyber activity, illicit cyber activity. The cell phone now has become an integral tool for parents to keep track of their students on their location and their whereabouts and stuff like that. But on the other hand of that, there's also the cyber world, which is kind of hard to police or to manage when the student is away from proper guidance from parents and teachers. So we ensure that the teachers are aware, the parents are aware that whatever device that your student is equipped with, you must have access to it 24/7, so that the students must not have a password that you do not have access to. And we encourage them to do random checks on their search history, on the apps they download, the contacts that they have, the media on their phone, and sharing in what information they share on their phones.
And WPC, I don't know if you could tell me any information about, what have you guys been finding about how prevalent, cyberbullying is within our space? Oh, well, WPC Jordan, I mean, sorry, Inspector Jordan.
Yeah, well, I am the person that really championed that activity. And WPC Jordan and the other members of staff, they also are on board with the team. So what we did, we set up teams. Up to yesterday, we did some patrols at the various schools within Chauvin District. We check with the principal, we check with the teachers, we check with persons in the environment that are in authority of the schools, and we ensure that they have proper security systems in place. We ensure that they have a system where parents drop off or drivers drop off the students, and the students enter the school and remain within the school compound during those school hours. We also do some crime prevention tips. We drop off pamphlets to ensure that the persons have the material to read. One of the issues that we particularly want to let these parents know is that they normally hire transportation for the students, for the pupils. We say that ensure that you know the driver. Ensure that you are aware of the person's background. So we say that if you have this person that you identify to transport your children, you can come to the police, give us the name, and we'll check our system to see whether that person is of good character.
And is that available with as a cost, or
no,
is that
no cost. You come and say, I have this person that I'm not sure about him. You all know this person. Has this person been in, is it the person of interest, or is this person a priority offender? So let us know who this person is, and we'll give you that information. That is not an application for certificate of character. Okay. It is not. It is just information for you to keep your children safe.
Okay, and I mean, as you touch on bullying, and I think I want to deal with that topic a little bit, because that is something that has been popping up quite a bit, and then we see it when those fights and those videos of those crazy fights are coming out in schools throughout the nation. What is the assistance that the police can give to parents, teachers, and students in regards to treating with bullying, or when when there's a situation developing? How can the police come in and assist to sort of mitigate the situation?
Right. Firstly, we develop a relationship. Each police station in Tobago Division has the mandate to adopt the school within their station district. So with that in place, we have that relationship with the school administration. With the school administration on board, we can go in and we do lectures concerning bullying. We do intervention activities. There's the Child Protection Unit that deals particularly with violence against children. There's also the Community Police Secretariat. They go into schools and do several lectures and several activities to curb this activity.
I just want to interject.
No problem, go ahead.
Not only that we do these lectures and stuff, sometimes we do random drop-ins to see how school, because the element of surprise is what it is, capture the troublemakers, the good ones, so you know how to curb it from just the random poppings.
And just observing them.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to someone reporting an incident, because we also have these problems that happen where, you know, if, like, let me say a student is being bullied by several other students, and there's a report being made, then that might even intensify the bullying that they face, because, okay, well, you're going to report me now to the police, now we want to retaliate.
Revenge.
And how, in a situation like that, what can the student, parent, and teacher do to sort of mitigate and lessen that impact?
Okay, what we do, we ensure that the teachers and parents look for warning signs. You observe the child becoming withdrawn. You observe certain activities that they're used to be taking part in, they're not. They'll have an issue with going to school, a fear of going to school. Not because of the institution they're afraid of, it's because of certain individual or individuals intimidating them to be in school. So what we try to do is to ensure that you have that connection with that child. So that open communication is a way in which you can report some other activity that is negative going on with a child. Always show concern with your child. Always have that open door policy where the child can come and speak to you on any issue. So with the issue of threat, with the police on board, there's a way in which we go into school to address a student indirectly. Meaning that if this activity is taking place in class A, we keep a lecture with the entire class, so that that person within that catchment class will get the message loud and clear. So we don't call out the student like, John, we want to speak to you. We go within the group and we know who we are targeting, and we send a message, a warning to that person indirectly with the entire class involved. So there's no victim perpetrator identification directly.
Great.
So we do a holistic lecture.
And if that doesn't work?
Then we take it to the next level.
What's the next level?
That's where we kick in the forces of the Child Protection Unit. They do investigations relative to that, because it's a crime. It is an assault. So they will deal with that issue when it comes with children committing offenses, and we partner with the Children Authority as well.
And now with students coming back out to school, there are going to be children that are showing up to school with problems being faced at home. And when it comes to, you know, sexual abuse, domestic abuse, all these different things, what measures are in place for students who are faced with those things at home to be able to, you know, at least be detected in school, or for them to be able to feel comfortable to sort of speak about it, or for the adults, like say the teachers and so on, to pick up on these little things that are happening?
Okay, so within the school term, we continually go into the schools and speak on these exact topics that you spoke about. And we offer an opportunity for students to speak with a responsible adult in the school, because the issue happens, and it's really is a reality, that some of the persons who perpetrate these offenses are in the home with the students. So we encourage them that the teacher is a safe person at times you can speak to, the guidance counselor within the school, because for the victim to speak concerning a relative, to speak to that relative or another relative in the same home, sometimes they are not believed. So there's the external source in which they can get help in that area.
And there's also a concern that, you know, sometimes when you come to the police with some of these information, you know, it is not believed. I mean, you hear those stories every now and again. What work is being done within the police service itself so that when someone comes to report any situation of abuse, that they are taken seriously and they're not mocked or, you know, put down, or, you know, say, well, you know, you get yourself into that situation?
Are we speaking in terms of students or adults?
Both.
In case of students, we generally have students coming to make reports with an adult. It is, I cannot recall in the service where a student will come on their own to the police station to make a report. Usually, the information, they speak to someone who they trust, and that person brings them to the station. Correct. That person brings them to the station and to make that report. And every report is taken seriously. It is the police service responsibility, and it's our task to build that trust back. We are mending the bridge where the mistrust in the police service exists. we have come a long way. So every report, no report is insignificant, every report is taken seriously. Relative to persons being mocked, we frown upon that. We strive for the highest level of customer service, and everyone is treated as VIP.
And can a student come to you guys without an adult and make a report?
In the unlikely event that happens, it is our responsibility to contact a responsible adult relative to that person. That will be another relative, maybe a teacher from the school.
Or could be somebody from Children Authority.
Correct.
If they're not comfortable speaking to somebody from their family or from school, they can get another agency involved.
Okay, so now with our children going back to school, now what other tips are you do you have for parents, in terms of making sure that our children are safe? I mean, you mentioned that be careful of your taxi drivers, and if you're not certain, come to you guys for
advice.
For advice to know if this person is safe or not. But going beyond just that transport, what other tips that you can offer parents at this point in time?
Okay, great. Know who your students, your pupils, your children, friends and associates are. You must know their friends, every one of them. The schoolyard and the classroom is a recruiting ground for gang activity. It is a recruiting ground for illicit activity and forming illicit teams. So you ensure that your students' associates are positive ones. You must know their friends and who they associate with, and know the activities that their friends are involved in. So because we look at persons who will influence your child's behavior, it's very important that you know who they deal with on a regular basis and who they communicate with. Most important.
And if a parent detects that another student, or one of the friends of their child is involved, let's say in drugs, or has a firearm, because we've had some reports of that, unfortunately, within our society, what should be their course of action?
The first person of influence and the most person with the greatest influence is the parent, should be the parent. So the parent must instill within them issues that would deal with peer pressure.
But in the case of, let me say, I will stop you right here. Okay, so, their child is friends with another group of people, and they realize, and the friend also realized that, hey, there's something wrong going on here. And, either the parent detects it or the child communicates it to the parent. Now, the parent, it's not the parent of those other children. So what should that parent do in a situation like that?
Should that information come to that parent has a responsibility to inform the police. They also have a responsibility to inform the school administration, because that activity indirectly affects their child.
And others as well.
Okay. All right. And we're getting ready to wrap up now, and I just want to give you guys a chance to offer any last words to our parents and our teachers at this point in time.
Okay, we just want to say that we expect a greater relationship with the administration in the schools. Expect to see more police officers visiting the school on a regular basis. Expect to see patrols paying attention to the school premises. Expect to have more lectures and more interaction with us. And we want the parents to know that we are on their side to assist them in any area to ensure that their charges are safe.
And that they should feel comfortable coming to us if it is that they observe a situation during.
Okay, great. All right, I want to thank you guys for being on set with us this morning. It was a pleasure, and I really hope that people are listening and they're going to be taking your advice. And folks, remember that the police is really there to help us, and so they're not the enemy.
Thank you for having us.
They're not the enemy, they're there. So viewers, don't go anywhere, because we have a lot more coming up for you after the break.
Our national borders, our first step to security, but a possible access point for guns, drugs, crime. If it does not look right, do the right thing. Call Crime Stoppers anonymously. 800-8477. Report possible border crime.
I said I can't wait for Tobago in October. It's a different type of thing down here. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes for breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
And creamy, you'll find it right here. Makes you smile, relax a while, it's fun and good cheer. Ooh, enjoy every scoop. Ooh, every taste will get you hooked. We have flavors that you love, a combination special. Come along, enjoy our treats. This is Uncle Pete's.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. I mean, yes, we have a jam-packed program for you this morning. But getting into it, we are talking about a special Spirit and Prosperity Conference that's going to be coming up soon. And on set, we have Miss Joan Joseph, sorry. We have Miss Joan Joseph. And we also have Miss Judy Baker. A special good morning and welcome to you guys.
Thank you very much.
All right, so first of all, I just want you to tell me about the Spirit and Prosperity Conference.
Okay, it's a conference. Starts today, this evening, from 5. We push back the time based on public demand, and we're going until Friday. It's Spirit and Prosperity, meaning that we all have a spirit, we all have desires, our soul, which is, our heart is connected. So everything, our heart is the command center. So we have needs, we have wants, we have desires. We want to see achievement in our home, our marriage, our job, education, everything. So it's not about money. When people hear prosperity, they were like, wow, it's money. No, it's not just money. You want to prosper in everything. John said, beloved, above all things, that you prosper and be in good health as your soul prospered. So if you have good health, all right, you want to have everything to go with that, to complement it.
because it doesn't make sense that you have money and you can't enjoy it. You can't sleep, you can't eat. You have problems with your marriage, your home, your children, different things on the job. You need business contracts, deals, and all these things is a combined thing, is a combined program. So that the release will come upon you, your family. It actually is for the entire Trinidad and Tobago and beyond, because we have people coming in from Germany, from the United States, from Guyana, from different parts. They're coming in for this conference. It's a power pack conference, a very influential conference. People, they have been sharing their views even on Facebook, so we know it is going to be great.
And why did you guys choose now to have this conference?
Now faith is. Faith. Faith is always now. It's an active word. You need blessings now. You need breakthroughs now. You need healing now. So we have a lot of people who are coming to the conference to receive, because it's a time we are in the Ember months that is close to the end of the year, and sometimes most of us, we started off the new year by making resolution, and by February, March, it just go down the drain, and then the only revival we have in our mind again is, oh, Christmas, we're preparing. So this is a conference to give you the gateway, the opening of what this is that you had in your heart, that you still can achieve it. You have time.
Okay, so you're talking about a conference, of course, that starts from today.
Yes.
Now I want to get from you some more details about this conference. Where is it taking place? For how long it would be on? What format would it consist of?
Okay, it starts as I say from today, and the format, we have the Word of God, of course, because it transforms. We need the Word of God, and as you hear the Word of God, it will bring so much blessing, so much increase, so much abundance. And we have local artists. Everybody know them. Sister Judy will discuss more about the artists.
Okay, well, the artist, who most of you will know, Jared Nurse. He's a young artist. He has come from so far, his lifestyle and where the Lord has brought him from. He not also ministered to the young people. He also listened to little children and the elderly, because when they hear his songs and the anointing that comes out of it, they are being touched. Many people, the songs, when they listen, they said that they sometimes going through something, they were worrying about something, but when they listen to him, things just started to change from their lives. We also have Minister Terence Baines. He's not also a minister in the government, but he's also a minister of the gospel. And I know a lot of you all will know about him, and he's one that inspires a lot of people too. Then we also have Chantel. She's also a young woman. A lot of people say that, young women needs to come out more, but she's a woman that you can also look up to. Women who are going through, facing a lot of difficulties in life. And when you listen to her, and when you hear her songs and the way that she carries about herself concerning the gospel and what God has done for her, now she's using it for the kingdom. And this is very good for her. And so she can encourage other young women to come out and do the same. So we also have Blessed Messenger. And I like one of his favorite songs is, cover your family under the blood. So when you cover your family under the blood, we know that they are being covered. Even when they are going out to work, the children are going to school, you pray for them and cover them under the blood. That song touched me a lot, and I know it touched a lot of people out here.
And where will this be taking place?
At Shaw Park.
At Shaw Park?
Yes, at Shaw
And from for how long?
We are going from today, starting today, Tuesday, and we are ending off on Friday.
Okay.
Friday.
And is there a cost attached to it?
No, it's absolutely free. It's absolutely free. There is no cost attached. So all we need is your presence.
Will there also be counselors and those sort of people?
Yes, there will be counselors. There will be counselors, there will be ushers, there will be protocols there who will guide you. And so all you need to be is just to be there.
All right. And then, what is something that you want the public to know about why they should attend to this conference?
Amen. That's a good one. Everybody, as I say, we have needs. And we are in a time after the pandemic. Lots of things happen. most people haven't recovered totally. All right, and we have people that have literally spoken to us concerning the trials that they have been through. Some of them even brought their children. It's a sacrifice out. They are here, they came in from Trinidad, and there's so much challenges people are facing, health-wise, financially, even some, they're single parents. They have healing, some people have healing. We're gonna have a lot of ministry, healing and deliverance. So those who are afflicted and whatever, come out, come on down. Because we're in a time and day that we are facing so much things in the atmosphere. We are not assured of anything whatsoever. So as we are having this conference, as we say, it's not just about money, it's about prospering. It's a holistic thing. So that the people of, well, Trinidadians are already here. We have friends that just sent us message, they're here already, and Tobago, we are just here to have an explosion of blessings and anointing. The conference is, we are fasting and praying, so it's really a blessing to be here, and we know that Tobago will be transformed.
All right, great. So viewers, there you have it, come out and support, or be a part, not just support, but just be a part.
Yes,
come out and be blessed at the Spirit and Prosperity Conference starting today from 5 p.m. at the Shore Park Multicultural Complex. All right, so I want to thank you beautiful ladies for being on set with me this morning and for just to tell us, or tell the viewers, I should say, a little bit about what is to come over the next few days. All right, viewers, so we're not yet done with our program. We have just a little bit more for you, so don't go anywhere, and we'll be back right after the break.
Advertise with Tobago Updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gayel. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
Life, the concert.
Says our destiny.
Friday, 23rd September.
The night before Republic Day.
She says our destiny. She get next to me.
At the concert capital, the Queen's Park, Savannah.
Settle down on the lady. Guinness to say you are drive me crazy.
Guinness welcomes Mavado and his full band with rising superstar Ken. Life, the concert. Powered by Guinness and Strictly FX.
Tobago updates.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago, and we have a lot to talk about today. First, we're getting into conversations about the economy. Now, we have our budget coming up on the 23rd of September, I believe. And, we also had the spotlight on the economy, which occurred on Friday. Now, if you didn't catch that, that's something that you should go back and look at. Some interesting information came out of that regarding the state of our economy and that sort of thing, and even what to expect for the budget coming up at the end of the month. Now, there was also reports that came out that from the CSO, Central Statistical Office, that our economy declined by 4%. And to speak with us a little bit this morning on that, we have Dr. Shane Mohammed, who is a geopolitical scientist. And special good morning to you, Dr. Mohammed. How are you doing?
Good morning. Good morning. Very well, thank you. I have a Tobago to bank, and I hope you all have a way to get me into Tobago for Carnival.
Yeah, you do. You just need to come here from now. That's the only way I can tell you, because the tickets are sold out. We were hoping that more flights and so on get added on, but we'll see what happens. Maybe there might be some surprises in the budget.
I am sure you all at Tobago updates can get me into Tobago, man. I'm positively sure about that. I'll depend on you all for that. But I am reading the article, the little snippet about the economy of Trinidad and Tobago declining in the first quarter by 4% of 2022. No surprise. There's absolutely no surprise there. We have to take into consideration that for the period January 2020 and let's say December 2021 in particular, we were under serious health restrictions, movement restrictions. The the ease of doing business was disrupted as a result of COVID-19. The pandemic caused not only declines in the economy in Trinidad and Tobago, but across the globe. And there are other countries that are in worse case scenarios than we are. Now, we have to also consider that we were only relieved, and I will use that word loosely, relieved of COVID-19 restrictions within the first quarter, thereabout, of 2022, which means that even up to the first quarter, which would have been January to March 2022, we were still under COVID restrictions, and therefore businesses were not functioning in a full capacity kind of arrangement. So, um, unfortunately, to CSO, good, great work, but no surprise there. Um, but when we look at it now that we're moving forward, and we've moved forward into the second and third quarter, we're currently into the third quarter. We'll move into the last quarter of 2022 on the 1st of October. What we can say is that Standard & Poor's on the 21st of July 2022 confirmed that Trinidad and Tobago's credit rating was at BBB minus, an investment grade rating reflective of the credit strength of the country. Standard & Poor's has brought its outlook from negative to stable in light of the recent and prospective developments in the economy and the resilience to multiple economic shocks. Now, we have to take into consideration, and we must give credit where it's due. The Minister of Education, the Minister of Finance last year did put peg the budget against oil being $65 a barrel and natural gas being $3.75 per MMBTU, right? At the time of him doing that, oil was a little higher than that, and natural gas was $5 per MMBTU. So he was extremely conservative in how he pegged the budget. So to say that if it is that at the time of him pegging the budget at $65 a barrel, and oil would have been like about $80 a barrel, and he pegged the gas at 375, and it is written in Standard & Poor's that it was $5 a barrel, then there would have been conservatively the government would have been gaining what I would deem a financial cushion from the excess amount of money that we would have raised from from the oil and the gas sector. Now, I think it's a very important thing that it said that our resilience to multiple economic shocks, meaning that we are able to. It says in some. Let me just hold on. We do deserve to be in this thing. Uh, in a what it is saying to us now is that at the time of the budget 2021 into 2022, that there was a level of conservatism, and I appreciate that conservatism on the part of the Minister of Finance. It says, therefore, that he put us in a position where if there were any shocks that would have caused there to be a decline in the international markets, then we would have been in a position to still be safe. Now, what has happened is that there were no shocks in the economy as it pertains to the drop in prices that we have pegged the economy and the budget against. In fact, what continued to happen is that the prices of oil and gas continue to rise over time. As we are currently in the third quarter of 2022, third financial quarter of 2022. And the last quarter, which would be the beginning of fiscal 2022-2023, will be in October. Now, at present, as in today, right? As in today, natural gas by Standard and Poor's is predicted to be $86.87 a barrel, and natural gas is currently trading at $8.76 per MMBTU, which therefore means that we are operating under a system where we are getting revenues, extra revenues from the production from oil. So whereas we were at $65 in 2021-22 fiscal, we are gaining $20 average more per barrel of oil, and significantly for the very first time in a very long time, we are getting almost 2.5%, approximately 2.5% profit from our sales in oil in natural gas. And as we all know, in Trinidad and Tobago, we are very rich in natural gas. And I also understand that the industry, in terms of the industrial estate, one of the plants in the industrial estates in Point Lisas has stopped the production of urea because the cost of urea is very low, and has upped their production of, if I'm not mistaken, methane and methanol,
So
because the
does this
price of
mean,
methane
Dr.
and
Shane, I just don't mean to interject here, that we can't really expect too much of a positive outcome in the budget for at the end of this month?
No, no, not at all. I disagree. I think what we can do is that I will have an appreciation of Mr. Imbert's fiscal conservatism. I will have an appreciation for that, and I will appreciate that he will continue to be conservative in terms of how he pegs the budget against the price of oil and gas. Um, what I will say is that because Standard and Poor's has placed us on a rating of being stable, it means that we have the potential to move from stable to a more positive outlook going into the first quarter of 2003, right? Even into the last quarter of 2002, into the first quarter of 2003. I will say, though, however, what I would like to see, and I don't want people, it is very easy for persons in the unions, especially trade unions, to get carried away that, oh, we're making money, and therefore, because we are making money and we are making a profit, we are in a position to pay out large sums of back pay and large sums of negotiating larger sums of percentages in terms of money for salaries. The Minister of Finance made a very important statement regarding how much money, and even Prime Minister did so on Friday when they had their spotlight on the economy. And there's a lot of money that is going to be put towards the payment of salaries, back pay, and that sort of thing. What I would like to remind our working class about is we all suffered across the board.
Yes, we did.
Trinidad and Tobago, all of us in professions, not only in frontline positions, not only in the public sector, not only in police and wherever you worked, right? And when I say public sector, I mean the entire public sector, meaning all agencies under the public sector. We all suffered. The private sector, we all suffered, right? The point about it is that at no point in time we were able to not get a salary at the end of the month. We may have had issues where salaries were late by a few days. They may have been late by a few weeks. There are persons, and I will admit this because there are going to be persons that will come after me on this point. There are persons who have not been paid their stipends, like nursing assistants and those sort of things. And those are things that the government should pay attention to settling, right? Now, my brother himself asked me the other day what was my opinion with regard to the 4% and why it is that Amalgamated took the 4% and went against the other agencies and the other trade unions. The point is this: 4% is better than nothing, especially in a scenario where our economy is now jump starting. We cannot afford to take and Mr. Imbert said it. He may not have said it eloquently, because what you see is what you get with Mr. Imbert. By now we have to grow accustomed to that fact, right? He's not a Mr. Dukaran and he's not a Mrs. Karen Nunez Tushera. Let us put
I would
aside
sometimes
personality.
we have to get past that personality and just look
Yeah.
at that information.
Correct. Move away from the personality, move away from the individualism in terms of the person who is presenting the information. And the fact remains is we all suffered. And I will make that point again. We all suffered. We all sacrificed. We all may have had cuts to take in the private sector. We may have cuts to have taken as daily paid workers. We may have had cuts to take. Every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago in the working class had some level of adjustments to make in terms of their income. It was not the public servants only. And if it is, and I will make this very boldly, I make no apologies for saying this.
And well, we have to wrap up now, so you just have to
I will
brief
say
it.
this, yeah. Yeah, if there is anybody and any group of persons who should be given priority in terms of getting salary increases in this country, it's the frontline health workers that have been working non-stop. I have a relative, she's a doctor, she spoke with me the other day. She said, Shane, I am exhausted because I've not had a vacation in however long. We are burnt out. COVID-19 is still existing. It may not be as prominent as before, but it is still existing. The hours are still long. The sacrifices are still there. So if there is anybody or any group of persons that should be given priority in terms of salary increases and rewards for the work that they have done over the last 2 years, the first grouping of people should be the frontline health workers and health workers on the whole. I will say that. And 4% for those who are ancillary or auxiliary workers, meaning supporting the economy, right? Who have been able to work from home and work remotely and whatnot, and then get time off in terms of work a week on and a work a week off because of COVID-19. 4% is better than none. Right?
All right, and at that point, we will have to leave it right there, Dr. Mohammed. And
but take conservatism. I look forward to that in the coming budget.
Right. And I mean, we will be having you on again to be talking about these things leading up to the budget. And, we certainly want you to be on with us for that budget discussion on the 23rd. All right, Dr. Mohammed? Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, viewers. It was a pleasure being with you all. And we'll see you again tomorrow. So have a wonderful and productive day. Bye.
We special and there is no denying Tobago.